Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. There's a few of you that are quite interested in the air cannon that I use to shoot my throw weight up into the tree at the beginning of some of my videos. So I want to take the time to make a video about that today and go over it and kind of tell you how you can build your own if you really want to. So with that, we'll jump right into it. Alrighty, here she is. So basically the overall principle of things are that I put a bike pump on here, I pump it up, I stuff the throw weight down the tube, and then I pull the valve real quick and it releases the pressure in this part of the cannon and shoots the weight out there. Pretty basic setup, and you know, probably most of you could probably build it with this picture right here. But I'll go over some of the finer details here that might save you a little bit of research and development, shall we say. So I have on here the length of the pipes that I use to make it. These uprights are 9.5. This one's 12 inches. This one I think is like 2 5/8 or 2.5, something like that. And then I have a 28-inch barrel on here. This is all made out of Schedule 40 1.5 PVC with pressure rated fittings, and it's super important if you build one of these to use pressure rated fittings, because in this size of PVC there are drain fittings which are not designed to hold pressure, and there are pressure rated fittings that are designed to hold like water pressure in a water line. I believe all this stuff is rated for like 300 psi at room temperature. Obviously in extreme cold or extreme heat that would change. I believe the total length of this device with these particular length pieces in here is around 50 inches. So you probably could cut a couple inches off of the barrel piece if you wanted to make something that would fit in a 48-inch toolbox. If you do build one of these, it's super important that you both prime and glue your fittings correctly. There are instructions on the can if you're not familiar with how to glue PVC fittings. It's super simple. It's just important that you follow the instructions. Because if you're going to hold this thing next to you and have a bunch of air pressure in it, you know, if it were to come apart in some way, it'd be super dangerous and could hurt you. That being said, I have a hole drilled in this cap, which I am sure completely takes its rating and throws it out the window. So, you know, if you build one of these, you're you know, obviously you're at your own risk, but it's super important. I put the hole in the Schrader valve in this upright rather than in this one, just because this one's a little bit farther from my body when I'm using this air cannon. You can buy these at most of your local auto parts stores, or I might even link in the description here. But either way, you can get these. They're not too hard to get. Then here on our handle, I cut a groove in here with just an angle grinder, and it was more like melting rather than cutting. But I did that and then zip tied this bar on here. This is just a piece of steel tubing from like Lowe's or Home Depot, I think I got it. And I zip tied this on just to make it much easier to actuate this valve, because they don't give you a whole lot to grab onto, and these plastic valves are typically pretty stiff. That being said, I do have this oriented in a way that, you know, meets my preference. You know, you could flip this valve onto the other side and have it closer to your body. I like to hold onto this with my left hand and actuate the valve with my right hand, and have this up against my right shoulder. I'll show you that here at the end of the video. We'll shoot this thing off a couple of times and you can see how it goes. But I think that's about it, really. There are ways that you could probably adapt this down to fit the Schrader valve rather than to drill a hole in the cap. It is super important, obviously. Well, it may not be obvious, but it's super important that you put this Schrader valve in the cap before you glue the cap on, because that Schrader valve gets installed from the inside. So once you put this tube on here, it'd be super hard to get that valve in. But yeah, there's a little bit of skill to it. You gotta learn how to pull the valve real fast. I like it made all out of plastic. It's a little bit more fragile. I think I've broke my air cannon maybe 3 or 4 times now, mostly in cold weather or when I drop it. The most common failure is the handle gets bumped too hard and it breaks down in here, and the handle falls off. And at that point, you pretty much got to rebuild the whole thing, because they're glued fittings, and it's, you know, not really reasonably possible to unglue and reglue them. I think that's about it. It just, anytime you're dealing with air pressure, it's way different than water pressure or anything else because of its expansion rate when it's released. So again, it's just be super careful with one if you build it. Don't leave it pressurized. I misspoke earlier. You should really put the throw weight down the barrel before you pressurize it. That way you're not sitting there, you know, looking down the barrel and tapping the cannon on the ground to get that weight to fall down the barrel. So I think that's all there is to say in here. I think we'll just go ahead, go outside and load the thing up and shoot off and see how far we can get to go. I've never had it not reach far enough for me, that's for sure. Alrighty, I'll just go ahead and go through my normal load and pump and shoot process, and maybe we'll take a couple different shots of how it goes. So first thing I always do is you gotta make sure the valve is shut. If you don't shut it all the way and you leave the valve open, when you go to shut it later to put air pressure in, it'll pinch the bag, and it's just a problem. Then, as somebody nice, so kind of suggested in the comments, it works out best to put the ring down. That way the weight doesn't flip around on its way out of the cannon. Then I like to just give it a shake. I usually don't tap it on the ground, just to have an effort to not, beat things up. Sometimes if it's a humid day, it won't go down as easy and you kind of got to, but just give it a little shake. I wait until I hear that ring hit the valve down there. I know it's all the way down. And then I just take my bike pump. I step on the bottom part to keep it upright so it doesn't fall over. I think almost every time that I've broken something, it's because it fell over somewhere. It was either up against a truck or whatever, and it slid down and broke the handle or something. So it doesn't take too many pumps because the volume in this thing is not real big. I like to run up to about 60 psi for most of my trees, but for demonstration purposes here, we'll run it up to probably 90 or 100. We'll see, whatever the bike pump feels like doing today. I looked up all the plastic PVC parts on I think Lowe's website, and I think all the PVC pipe, the valve, the caps, and even the Schrader valve, which was like 10 bucks on Amazon and a kit of 4 of them, was right around 50 bucks, I think. So that's not including the glue. If you have to buy the glue, that's going to be a little bit more. But still way more cost effective than most of your air cannons available on the market today. I say most, I think there's only one. I don't know of any others, but anyhow. Ooh. Okay, I got 90 in there, and then this is how I like to hold it. I like to just put one hand here, my left hand, put the other hand here, and that's primarily for the stabilization of things. And I put my right hand on the valve because that's what I can, I'm most coordinated. I'm right hand, I'm most coordinated with that hand. I do have some friends that have built one of these and they like to do it this way. It's all about your preference. I think if you put the valve on the left hand side, if you get like a brass valve or something that's got a handle already on it, it might be on the bottom side, which for me that wrist turning action just is not real nice. So I end up putting it on this side. But typically what I do is I get my throw line cube set right in front of me, and I get my sights all lined up. I did intentionally put the lettering on a pipe is always in a straight line. I put it right on top so you can kind of look down that line and kind of use it to kind of line up where you want to shoot. It's not perfect, but it kind of gives you an idea. And there's always some arc to it, so I always aim just a little bit higher. But this is how she goes. Okay, that did not quite run all the throw line out. I don't know if there's another 40 feet in there, maybe 30 or 40 feet. It is a 200-foot line, so I shot it pretty much straight up and down. I mean, I gave it a little bit so it didn't come back down on me, but I don't have enough room in this backyard to really shoot it straight out. I imagine if you put more pressure in it, it would obviously go farther. And then also a lot of it's just how quick you are on the handle. If you go real slow on the handle or go slowly on the handle, you can waste all of that pressure and not even get the bag out of the barrel. Well, it might get the bag out, but it probably won't do anything useful. So anyhow, there's, like I said, a little bit of skill to it, This is 200 feet of Dynaglide, so, if we're conservative and say we had 50 feet left in the bag, You know, that would mean that we probably reached a height of 125 feet with the arc and everything like that. You know, that's just a guess. I'm no mathematician, but that's plenty high for the trees I have around here. I'll do another one here real quick. I got 100 psi in it this time, so see if I can yank that handle real good, see what we end up with. Alrighty, that time we have, I don't know, maybe 15 feet. I'll pull it out here and walk it out. Alright, that's how much is left in the bag. I'm thinking we're looking at 12 or 15 feet, something like that. If I step it off here, it turns out to be about 12 feet. Let's say if we only had 12 feet left of a 200-foot string, we probably got it up there pretty high. I'm, you know, probably beyond 150 feet, which is taller than any of the trees we even have in Ohio here. So I'm sure that, you know, there's some folks that live in some places where you need something a little bit more, but you know, you're gonna need more than a 200-foot throw line as well. So anyhow, I hope this video is helpful to you. If you do decide to build your own air cannon, just please be super careful. You know, pressurized containers are incredibly dangerous, and so it'd be really good of you to do a little research and kind of understand the dangers of what you're getting into. I am not qualified to teach you on all of those dangers. I just know that I don't want the thing exploding right next to my face. If you do have any further questions or comments or anything like that, anything you think can make the device better, feel free to put those in the comments. I'd be super interested to hear your thoughts, and I'll do my best to answer any questions. But regardless, I hope you have a great day, and I hope you can stay safe in the trees.